And then back to Iguodala to the rim. Oh, great block. James out of nowhere, skies to the rim. Oh, Boyd took the advantage and played off from inside the center square. Boyd kicked the goal. Boyd kicked the goal from inside the center. Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup. He's hands right back up. Big head kick. Down goes Thompson. It's over. It is over.
Live it, breathe it, love it. All sports, double coverage.
What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to Double Coverage. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. I'm Dom with the great man Saucy.
What
How are
is
you
going
going?
on, Domma? Massive hobby news out of the blocks yesterday, hot off the press. We'll be leading with that, among other things. Jumping into a massive week of sport that have come out of, not only the EPL, the Champions League games that we had this morning, but also F1, some crazy stuff happening over the weekend.
Well.
Grosjean, amen, he's alive and well. Sebastian Grosjean, it's never a sight that you want to see in F1 racing, that's for sure. So glad he's up and about and is giving the thumbs up to the followers on Instagram and across the socials, which is good.
Definitely.
And then UFC, underwhelming. Our boy, Big Derek Lewis, hot balls himself, didn't get to fight.
Balls, mate.
Didn't get to fight because his opponent actually tested positive to COVID-19. Not much you can do.
He's done.
Not much you can do. Yeah.
So we have got a bit, and we will start with what you said. One of the biggest news to come out this week was in the hobby, but it was also a massive week for the hobby in general in the last 7 days. We will talk about that in Hobby Talk, but we will start off the show this week with the acquisition of the company that owns PSA called Saucy.
Collector's Universe.
Collector's Universe. Cosmic Universe.
Collector's Universe, mate.
Fucking Dom.
CLCT on the
CLCT.
NASDAQ stock market out there.
But massive. It was ginormous. They were acquired by D1 Capital Partners, which is an investor group that is led by Nat Turner. If you do not know who Nat Turner is,
become familiar with him.
I was put onto this bloke by Saucy. I'm with Sauce. Become familiar with him. One of the greatest collection of cards you'll ever see. You'll be able to find him on Instagram. I'll get that handle while we push through this segment. And also by the Cohen Private Ventures, which is owned by Steve Cohen. And Steve is also an entrepreneur. I'm not sure if he's in the hobby or not, but he does own the New York Mets, so that's a good sign. He's got a lot of money. So there's no problems there. So massive news. People think are very excited to see where this is going to go. I know we've been excited because there's now somebody that really loves the hobby as well that has a vested interest in the hobby, now owns one of the biggest players in sports trading cards. And, trading cards in general, because as we know, PSA don't just do sports. They do Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And they venture out into other things. So, I don't know. What's your thoughts, mate? I reckon it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
they acquired it for $700 million, by the way.
First and foremost, probably not a bad buy. For anyone out there who's not aware of the stock prices, when I started speaking about their previously on the show and mentioned about their shareholder statement to the shareholders after their previous quarterly report, and I reported it on the show a few weeks ago. Their stock prices were at $55 a pop, 55 USD a pop. They have gone up since then to 75 a pop, and that's when Nat Turner from D1 Investors,
D1, yeah,
Investment
D1
Partners,
Capital.
D1 Capital, there and Steve Cohen combined together to buy it out and send the company private. So it's being taken off the NASDAQ stock market, and every person who owns a share will be getting paid out at 75. I think it's 75, 25 to the dollar, or to the cent.
To the cent.
So for any of those who were smart enough to get in at $20 around March, April, 25 bucks. Happy days for you, mate, because you've nearly quadrupled your money, and you're getting paid out. So it was a good investment all round. So there was a lot of hobby people out there who were really smart that seeing the way that PSA was going and seeing that they were becoming well and truly the market leader in terms of grading companies, and put their money on the stock market, and good for them. Good for them. It paid off. What does this mean for the hobbyist and PSA going forward? Well, it will be tough to say, Domma, but in my eyes, I think it's a positive. I reckon it's a positive. That especially you're now probably getting a guy in there who's got an amazing collection.
His handle is Nats NATS.
Yep.
Turner
_
cards is his Instagram.
And he's got an elite collection, and he's a hobby enthusiast. So we hope that he wants the best for the hobby, and wants to drive PSA forward in the advancements that they need to keep up with the demands of grading and the amount of cards that people are grading. Because ultimately, that is what needs to be fixed by them going in there and taking over. I mean, previously PSA themselves were doing things to increase that and move in that direction. But what we now can hope is that the fact that we've been hyping on, and we had a great discussion on our podcast, which released yesterday with Chris Hoge, about the advancements that could happen within PSA and within grading companies in general. Let's hope that Nat Turner brings that sort of that outlook that people have been wanting for, people have been calling for, and that's what's needed in the hobby.
I think he will have that vision. I definitely think he will. He's now able to do what potentially. Well, let's put it this way. Like the way we talk about it, on the podcast, and where a lot of other people talk in the hobby, these are things that we would like to be done. It's obviously we don't own PSA. But if we did own PSA and we were like multi-millionaires / billionaires and we could afford to put the money in to fix the problem, they have that potential now to do that. Yeah. So if they talk the way we talk and other people in the hobby talk, then they'll probably go that way. Interesting enough, I've been in communication with a few people through different socials, and you've probably done the same this week, since yesterday, since the acquisition. And there's been a few things. You sent me a few things like in terms of this is just the whole ploy by Nat Turner to freaking get his cards graded 10s easier. Let's just put it this way. He's going to make more money getting more subs coming in and fixing up the turnaround times than Joe Blow just saying, your card's a PSA 10. Let's just put it this way.
It's this...
For every card he gets a PSA 10, he can make 10 times the amount of money if he fixes up the sub time.
Exactly right. And, those sort of comments, I read them and I just laugh. Because why would a guy who's literally could wipe his ass with $100 bills and it'd be fine, it wouldn't really make any difference to his life or impact him at all, why would he risk his whole reputation for, say a couple 100,000?
Yeah. As I say, when it comes to people that are in that status with money, what we value a $10 note to be for those people is $10,000. That's the way you got to think about it. So for them to turn around and say, oh, I'm going to go buy a card, which is $40, which to them is like 4 cents a card. Honestly, you got to think the way they think. They go, it's like a $4 card to me, paying $40, or buying a Zion for $100, which is like $10 to them, not even $1, and then getting it graded, and it comes back and it's worth $8,000. He's like, oh, cool, I made $8,000 last minute. You know what I'm saying? Some of these people, they make that much money that rapidly. It's just stupid to think that he's buying them for the outlook of he wants to get more cards graded. That's just dumb. I'm telling you, with a guy of that caliber, of Nat Turner, he will send in a card. I don't care if the turnaround is 100 days. He will get his card back in an hour. They would prioritize a guy like that because of his status in the hobby over anyone else. You're kidding yourself if you think that's not the case. So he doesn't have to worry about turnaround times, mate. He'll just say, "Oh, here's my sub."
But he will pay the highest amount that's available.
It doesn't
at PSA.
really matter.
Mate,
they'll prioritize it.
Their business model is the more you pay, the quicker back you get your card back.
And the name's on there. It says who submitted the card. We say, "Oh, Nat Turner." Oh, wow. Okay. Well, guess what? The boss will walk into PSA and say, "This is your priority for the day. Get it sorted." And they'll get it done within half a day, and he'll get it back after a day on his submission. Like, this is the whole thing. Just don't think like that, all right? Think positively. We've said this in the past. This is a positive outcome of all the negative stuff that was happening. Like, it's kind of like, we're not going to eat our words, but we did criticize them heavily. And I think that if it wasn't for this acquisition, they still would have stayed in that business model. I understand they bought more area, and so I still think that their business model still would have been the same.
Yeah,
they still would have struggled. They need help to get out of there. I think this acquisition is a positive. And then, honestly, if they get this right, you and I said it this yesterday, they can't be stopped.
Bye-bye.
I don't care if you
BGS and SGC. Bye-bye. All I got to say is, I've stuck up. I've stuck up for them as much as I could, Domma. And
it's the kick in the ass they all need now.
But PSA out of this whole time has literally been SGC is doing something to rectify their turnaround times, and if they do get to a point where their turnaround times are back to normal or back to a relevant standard, SGC, I think there's a place for them in the market, because I just think PSA are going to increase their prices again at some point, and if SGC can remain their prices at 10, 11 USD a card, well, maybe there is a place in the market to send in your low stuff to SGC and the more higher end stuff to PSA. You wouldn't send a $2 base card that could potentially be, a $50, $60 graded card to PSA. You'd probably send that to SGC and keep your PSAs for your hollows and your numbered stuff or whatever. So I think there could still be a place for them in the market if their price point and their turnaround times are good. But if they can't fix that and PSA then starts beating them in turnaround times, and their price is a tiny bit more per card, and the card itself is worth a hell of a lot more in the PSA slab. It's just it's not going to end well for these other grading companies. Like, just whether you want to admit it or you don't want to admit it, people will see that end value, what that PSA card sold for, and they will prefer to send it to them.
Correct. As Perk said, mate, if it ain't PSA, don't bring it our way.
Don't bring them our way!
Guess what? Luke of the Dom was right there, old Kendrick. But literally, they've got everything. With money comes extra resources now. So the last thing we'll touch on is potentially getting some sort of AI, potentially, to help out with the process. I had a discussion with someone that I don't know the person. I commented on someone on the Happy Collector. If you don't follow him, he's very, very good. He had a video that came out about the acquisition, and there's a few comments in there talking about, we might get AI, and because it's something we've been heavily talking about on the podcast, I was going to comment and stuff like that, and I put a comment in there, and someone actually responded. So I don't know who this person is from Bar of Soap must work for PSA because he came out and said, "Oh, I don't want that to happen in my industry because in my job workplace because I'll lose my job." And my reply was, like, God forbid, I don't want you to lose your job, but it's going to be there to help assist the human being. It's not going to take over the human being's job. Like, if that makes sense. That's what it's going to be there for. We discussed this on the pod with Chris Hoge as well.
I don't think a computer can determine
Can't.
the
There has to be
surface
some
issues
human
and
element. Yeah.
they can't. I just don't see how a computer can determine surface issues and edges and stuff like that. Like how do they get a computer to do that? Like maybe your corners they can possibly. But I think the AI needs to be there as we've spoken about it. And anyone who hasn't heard the discussion in length, go listen to the podcast that we had with Chris Hoge, a special edition where we talk about it. For a lengthy time. I think it's going to be there as a hybrid system, and it will speed up the process. So
that's it, pretty much. But it's literally watch this space. What's going to transpire in the next 12 months, not just in the hobby, but for PSA now, is going to be ginormous. So it's a watch this space. I seem to believe that they're going to become so much more efficient and streamline so many more processes now that, as we said, they're just it's going to be literal total takeover of the grading market, of the whole entire hobby. That's just my thought. But yeah, going to be interesting, mate. This is good for us people in the hobby.
It's going to be
and
I'm excited.
I'm excited, which is great.
I just hope their number one goal when they go in there is like, I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but give them 6 months. I want to be seeing some improvements in the way that the turnaround times and some improvements that they're coming up with something to get it back.
To
get it back to like what it should be. Yeah, like
100%.
You shouldn't be waiting. If a bulk sub should be taking maximum 60 days. Maximum.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens. Anyway, coming up next, NBA. Brief NBA. All right, we're back. NBA. Christmas games got announced today. Very excited. They've done very, very well in these matchups. We'll just run through them. This is all we've got for NBA today. But we got Mr. Williamson versus Jimmy Buckets in the Heat, followed by Warriors at Bucks. So it'd be great to see Curry, Greek Freak, still spewing that there's no Clay in this game. Nets at Celtics. It'll be the first, might be second time or third time we may have seen the Nets play, but first big matchup against the Celtics with KD and Kyrie taking on Tatum and Brown, and potentially, who knows, rumor on the street is Celtics are going to try and get my boy Beal, so that could be massive. And then to round off the afternoon, I'll tell you what, I'll be kicking my feet up and watching the last two, every game, but Mavs at Lakers. So Luka the Don versus the actual Don of the league in LeBron James, the GOAT. And then following that, we've got playoff potato Paul George, who's now going to just become regular season king. He's going to dominate versus the Nuggets. So, mate, we've got
some cracking games. Absolutely cracking games.
Mate.
They always line it up on Christmas Day. You know this, Domma. They always line it up, the NBA. They're very good. They know that everyone's having their Christmas hams and their baked potatoes, scalded potatoes and the works. And sit there and watch the NBA. And for me, it's nothing better because for me, it's for us here, it's on Boxing Day. It's the day after Christmas. And you sit there and you get up in the wee hours of the morning and you watch the NBA pretty much till the cricket starts. And then the cricket starts and then you start watching the cricket. And it's just a day full of sport. So
it's going to be great. Gonna be elite.
We'll
be going live. Don't you worry. There'll be some live action there on the socials for those games. So I was sinking a few beers and watching Luca the Don dominate the GOAT. He's the new GOAT, Luca the Don,
Oh.
as we know in the hobby. Anyway,
He's got goat prices in the hobby, that's for sure.
he's the GOAT of the prices. Full stop. Coming up next, here we go. F1 news. We've got a bit to get into. All right, we're back. F1s. The race that had everything. You name it, it had it.
Crazy, Domma. Absolutely crazy.
Lap 1, turn 3, Romain Grosjean's car hits the barrier, explodes, and I'm not joking, actually exploded.
Like, this is scary stuff.
I'm
Like,
not fucking exaggerating
seeing this
shit.
stuff in F1, that's you hold your
Oh.
breath, and you hope for the best.
Man, I'm getting bloody. Look at this, mate. Goosebumps just thinking about it. Honestly, how we walked away from that is beyond me. Like, sick to my stomach watching it. And then when you see him walk out of the flames and he's okay, and all he's walked away with is like minor burns to his hands and feet. Thank God. Like, for the 3 layers of protective gear that they wear under their race suit, well, including their race suit, it's flame retardant. The way the build of the car. Romain Grosjean actually said like he was against the halo on the car, and he actually said if it wasn't for the halo, I'd be dead. So, if you don't know, the halo was brought in after Felipe Massa copped some race junk to the helmet, and it went straight through the helmet. He almost died. He had multiple brain surgeries to save his life, and fortunately, he survived that. But the halo saved him. The car was split in half. It went through the barrier. The front half went through the barrier. It's just mind-boggling stuff. In all honesty, though, the way that it did hit the barrier, if it was a couple more centimeters further back and the impact was on the fuel gauge first, I reckon it could have been it. It's literally a matter of inches, but thank God he is okay. So, not for anything, the session was red flagged on turn 3. So as we've mentioned previously, red flag means they just stop the session until they fix the debris. But what they had to do was obviously get rid of the car, put out the fire. Then they had to weld the barrier back together because there was a hole in the barrier. It completely split it. So it was red
Freaking
flag.
hell! So the race was put on hold for quite a while,
So
Domma.
if you go back and you watch just the race telecast,
Yep.
on the replay, it goes for 5.5 hours.
Wowee.
The red flag was for an hour. So technically the race was delayed by
Did
1 hour.
Did they restart the race from the
from the first lap? It's
Well, did they
restarted.
start a rolling start or stop start?
No, it's just stop start.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that happens. We get a couple laps in, and then a safety car comes out because Lance Stroll flips his car upside down.
That's what I mean. There was action everywhere, Domma.
There was shit happening everywhere in this race. It was unbelievable. So he flips his car, and then the race goes pretty straightforward after this. And it just becomes, it's a high-speed circuit with some big straights and it was a lot of overtaking. It was a mid-pack race, but mid-pack I'm talking from probably 4th all the way down through to 10th. There was a lot of chopping and changing, which was awesome. Verstappen got everything out of his car, but Hamilton was just too good. He actually drove really, really well. He only won this, well, he won it off a safety car, but he was in front by only, I think, 7 seconds in the end. 27 seconds, but it was only 7 seconds because Verstappen put softs on because he wanted to go for the extra point, which he did have, but he wanted to make sure just in case Hamilton tried to get the fastest lap, he could try and steal it back. But the most unfortunate thing in this race was Sergio Perez, third the whole race, 3 laps left, his turbo blows and explodes. and the back of his car catches on fire. This is the guy that's had the worst luck. He's had COVID this year, DNF'd. This is the guy that's sitting fourth in the World Championship, yeah, and he's DNF'd, I think, 3 races and had COVID for 2 others. He hasn't even finished 5 races, and he's still fourth in the World Championship behind Ricciardo by 2 points. So I felt so sorry for him. So the safety car obviously has to come out. It takes all the cars through for the last 3 laps. So Hamilton wins on the safety car. No one could beat him. Albon actually gets his first podium for Red Bull, which is fine, because I tell you, if he had the 3 laps, Albon would have found some way to screw it up, because he's done it that many times, either spinning out or crashing the car. I just genuinely don't think he would have finished the race. So unfortunate for Perez. Massive blow for Racing Point for the constructors, and now opens up the door massively. Because McLaren, Saucy, are now sitting 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. So 3rd and 4th is a difference of $10 million in prize money to put towards your cars. So that $10 million could be a massive boost for McLaren going into the 2021 season. But the race finished with Hamilton 1st, Verstappen 2nd, Albon 3rd, my boy Lando 4th, Carlos Sainz, his partner, in 5th, Gasly 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Bottas 8th, Ocon 9th, and Charles Leclerc in 10th. Constructors, Mercedes have won it. Red Bull definitely going to be 2nd. But with 2 races left, McLaren 171, Racing Point 154, Renault 144. Somehow, like I've said it last week, how Ferrari is there on 131 points is absolutely beyond me. Mind you, Leclerc has 98 of those 131 points. It is ridiculous. And then the World Championship, obviously, Hamilton's won it. But let's have a look, because Hamilton won't be racing this weekend because he's got coronavirus. So he's out. So this
it's opened the door. I can confidently say, Domma, that Hamilton won't win this week.
Yeah, he got sick of winning, so he got COVID because he's had enough. But he's literally, I'm not worried about him because he's got it sealed. The thing that I'm keen here now, as we know, his teammate, old Valtteri,
Bottas,
has been struggling big time.
Oh, he's been starving.
Guess what Verstappen's done in the last few weeks? He's cut the margin to only 12 points.
He'd want to do something in these next 2 races. Hey, he could actually get. He should jump into Hamilton's car. He should jump into Hamilton's car. That will secure the win this week, as long as he doesn't crash it.
I reckon, mate, it's got too much power for him.
Like, they probably won't put him in there because they don't want him to stuff it up for Hamilton next week.
Yeah, exactly right. But there's maximum points on offer now for anyone this week. I write off the maximum points every week, as you know, because Hamilton's racing and he's just going to win. So there's 25 points available there for Verstappen. If he finishes first and Bottas finishes 3rd in this race, Verstappen moves 2nd, which is massive.
Let's see what happens.
So
one thing noted, Domma, I did hear you say Danny Rick's finishing 7th. So another top 10 for our boy Danny Rick in that absolute putrid of a car that he's driving around there. So
he's sitting 4th in the World Championship, 2 points ahead of Perez.
What more do you want the bloke to do? His car is pathetic.
You know what's actually very impressive? Obviously, Norris is there as well. Sainz is up there. Albon. But I'm also keen for next week also because Charles Leclerc, who's been driving this Ferrari, as I said, he's got 98 of their 131 Constructors' Championship points. Charles Leclerc is 4 points behind 4th position in the World Championship, driving the Wiggles' big red car, and he's somehow sitting 4 points behind Ricciardo.
He's somehow getting that thing to move.
He's drove very, very well this year. So hats off to him. But we've got a race again this week, double header. We've got Bahrain coming up again this Sunday. And then the following week, I'm pretty sure, is the final race of the year, which is in Abu Dhabi. But so Bahrain this weekend. No Lewis Hamilton. and look forward to, hopefully, we might even get someone winning their first ever Grand Prix. So hopefully Lando can make some moves. If not, my tip will be Verstappen. So yeah, that's it. That's what we got, mate. That's it for F1s. Coming up next, EPL. And here we go. All right, we're back, Saucy. EPL. Man, it was a weekend. We'll go through the games, but the weekend was just marred by some of the most putrid VAR calls of all time. And I know I'm not going to, it's the same thing like we say, yeah, we're not going to blame refs for bad decisions and this and that. By the end of this segment, I'm calling for the offside rule to be changed. And I'm going to explain my proposition because this is becoming an absolute joke. Next, you're going to say that a hair follicle fell off the guy's head and it touched the line, so he's offside. This is ridiculous.
Oh.
Mate, I tell you what, it's ridiculous. Let's go through the games. Chelsea v Tottenham, 0-0 draw. Both teams had their chances. It was a great game. Mourinho was very happy with his boys at the end of this. He said, my boys are upset. That's what I want. I like seeing that. We all should be upset. We came here, we played well, and we probably should have walked away with the 3 points. But it was great. Great to watch. Mason Mount had his opportunities. So did Lo Celso. Had some golden opportunities, and they just squandered them. But
Werner offside for one opportunity, which he probably shouldn't have because he was looking down the line and, well, he was offside by a whole body length. So he ended up finishing it in the far corner, but, flag was up.
Next up, we had one of those controversial games, which is great because it was Brighton versus Liverpool, and it ended up a 1-1 draw. Brighton missed a penalty in this. Salah scored a nice goal. VAR disallowed it because his toenail was over the line. And then my boy, Diogo Jota, scores again. It was very good to watch. I love watching my boy just kick goals.
I watched this game, Domma. Brighton were good. They were good. They could have won the game. Missed the penalty in the 20th minute. They should have went up 1-0. They also had other chances as well to kick a goal. They squandered him. Absolutely squandered him. I think, what's the other guy's name that was up the top there? I'll get his name.
Mane. I know for Brighton.
Yeah, Connolly. He had a chance, and he's absolutely shanked it.
But it was all set up for one moment in this game. The greatest moment. And I tell you, we've been around the traps when it comes to soccer and indoor futsal. I tell you what, and I thought I'd seen it all. Saucy, I thought I'd seen it all. But I saw the greatest VAR penalty given of all time. When the defender goes to clear the ball and he misses the ball and just clips the guy on the foot on a clearing attempt and it gets given as a penalty, you know you've lost your shit. If you're going to the box as a ref and you're looking at the box and going, I need to make a call here, and you go, that's a penalty, you know what that tells me? You should not be reffing in the league. Take your bike, mate, go to the Farmers League, Div 10 in bloody Albania, and start bloody reffing down there. Because...
Domma. Because I watched most of the game because it was on late. I fell asleep in the last bit, and then I woke up and seen it was 1-1, and I've gone back to sleep. But I watched most of it, so I didn't see this. I've just watched the replay on that.
That is the most disgraceful call in the history of football. Well, one of.
The funniest part is Danny Welbeck. When you watch the actual play, he doesn't go to ground until a whole 4 or 5 steps after, and then he just drops like a sack of spuds.
But this is the whole thing, like we said, mate. All the players do now is appeal that it should be seen. And I'm a supporter, yeah, and I put my hand up because I put my hand up and I said we did it against Brighton. Yeah, United. If you don't know, I'm a United supporter. But there was a moment where in that game, Brighton versus United, earlier in the season, I think it was like week 4, the ball got kicked into the guy's arm in the box, and United should have lost that game, or at least drawn it, but we scored a pen in the 94th minute because he hit his arm, and all the players stopped playing the game and all put their hands up and appealed, and the ref gets sucked in, and he goes, all right, I'll VAR check it, and United ended up getting a penalty, and then ended up scoring. It's just a disgrace now. And that was a terrible call. And you know what? Klopp might have got a bit of flack for what he said after the game, and he might get reprimanded by the league for what he said. But you know what? Hats off to him, and I applaud him. Klopp actually said, he goes, Klopp goes, I'll take that VAR call and I'll take the draw. He goes, I'm actually starting to get used to armpits and badges and our team badges on the shirts giving us offsides. It's becoming a disgrace. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. He was referencing Mo Salah's offside, by the way, which was like a toenail.
Yeah,
Salah forgot to just like clipper his toenails, mate, last week, and it cost them 3 points. But enough on that one. Next game up was freaking Leicester versus Fulham, and Fulham took the chocolates. Here they come. They're actually playing great football. The last few weeks they've been very, very good attacking. They've defended reasonably well.
Domma,
but they're attacking well.
All I'll say, Domma, is they had to change something. They had to change something down there at Fulham because they were at that rate. They were looking like they were 100% getting relegated. But they've turned it around their last couple. We're playing okay. I mean, they lost last game to Everton, but they still were able to kick some goals, which has been the issue. The issue. They should have. Yeah, that's right. They could have easily drawn that game. So they've started to play better, and those are two teams up near the top half of the ladder. So hopefully Fulham can string a bit of a period together and push up the ladder so that they're not in that relegation fight come the last sort of 7-8 games of the season.
Definitely. Next up, we have my boys against Southampton versus Manchester United. 2-3 win. We went down 2-0 at the half. But
one man, Domma, let me just tell you, one man changed the whole game at half when he came on at halftime.
He did.
He absolutely changed the whole game, and that just goes to show. I'm just wondering why isn't he starting the game?
I think he's a super sub and he's meant to come on and do stuff like that. We did have opportunities to score in that game. Greenwood missed an absolute Mickey Mouse goal for himself. A left footer, no keeper on the line. Probably should have finished that. We had a few, even Bruno Fernandes off a rebound, kicked it, and the keeper somehow just pulled it into his chest. It probably should have been 2-2 at the half and probably won the game 5-2. But Ward-Prowse for Southampton, earlier in the year, he kicked some absolutely, like some pearlers, free kicks I'm talking about.
Yep.
And he kicked an absolute Mickey one against us. But De Gea got injured in this game, knee injury. His knee went straight into the post trying to save a pen. I expect
try to save that free kick, wasn't it?
A free kick, sorry.
And which he should have saved. Let's be honest, Domma. It was a pretty soft free kick to concede. It was a nice placement.
Yeah.
But he probably could have done a bit better, in my opinion.
But then, as you said, Cavani did come on and he put on a clinic. He set up Bruno Fernandes for his goal and then scored 2 headers, one in the dying minutes to seal the game.
That's a super sub for you.
But obviously, unfortunately, I criticise my team when it's there to be criticised, and I will criticise them briefly. I know we don't get into like political, social things on this, but Cavani, all I'm saying is you got to pull your head in. He put out an Instagram story later on, which kind of marred the victory and put a bit of a sour note on it, as he called Marcus Rashford, who played him the ball, a certain name. He said, thank you, whatever it is in Argentinian. I'm not going to repeat it on the show, but it is a racial slur, and he posted it live. He was trying to put it in a nice way, but I don't think he actually understands that stuff like that shouldn't be said. So he's copped a bit of flack there, and potentially we might not even have him this week because he could get a ban from the league for putting out that comment. So He's gone and saved our ass, and he could be sitting on the bench for a couple of weeks. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
What is wrong with these players? Why can't you just post a photo and just say, "Well done, team, good win"? Like, that's all you need to say.
yeah. Anyway, he's absolutely botched it up. He's got to pull his head in, and he has to be better. So he'll learn from that, and hopefully he does learn from it, because it looks like he might have a stint on the sideline. Next up, there's nothing much to get through this. Man City put on a freaking clinic against Burnley. Riyad Mahrez with a hat trick in this. They beat him 5-0. I'm going to keep your game to last because I know I want you to go off because you guys are shit. Uh, Everton lost to Leeds.
We're good in the Europa League.
Everton lost to Leeds, which another loss for Everton. That's 4 in 5 games now, which is not looking good for them. West Brom beat Sheffield 1-0. Newcastle beat Palace 2-0. And then we got another one of those nice VAR games. And we both called this last week. We said the West Ham versus Aston Villa game was going to be a great game.
I tipped West Ham.
And one of the games of the rounds, and it did not disappoint. West Ham took the chocolates 2-1 in that. But let's just put it this way. After over 8 hours not being able to score, Arsenal finally kicked the goal, and you still lost 2-1.
And it came from our centre-back, Gabriel.
Yeah, I know. I got him in my fantasy. But you lost 2-1. Very, very disappointing. In saying that, they lost Jimenez right at the beginning as well. Wolves off their head clash with David Luiz.
That was nasty, Domma. He was knocked out.
But it just proves that David Luiz has got a very hard head. Not much up there, but he's got a hard head. And the afro saved him from probably getting...
Oh, probably a bit of cushioning on that afro.
Oh, seriously. But if you haven't seen the thing, it's not for the light-hearted, really, watching it.
Not for the faint-hearted.
Faint-hearted, sorry. Apologies. But you hear the clash, because obviously there's no fans in the crowd. It was sickening, the noise. Not good at all. Wish him all the best. But your boys are no good.
Yeah, look, Domma, all I'm going to say is I say it week in, week out. I don't know what's happened to our attacking threats, what we're doing going forward. We lack purpose. We lack purpose.
The boy started again, to be honest.
But I will just bring it back. I will just bring it back. The two goals we conceded, right? I don't like giving it every week to him, but you go back and watch that, right? You go back and watch that for the first goal. For the first goal, right? Fabio Silva shows Gabriel comes up with him, right? Then you had, I don't know who he laid the ball off to that guy. That guy also came up and showed to the ball along with Fabio Silva, but instead of Xhaka staying tied up to that guy, he dropped off because he realised the ball wasn't getting played to that man. Well, what happened? It got played to Gabriel's man. Gabriel's right behind him. Fabio Silva lays it off, turns, runs, but because Xhaka decided not to stay tight on his man, that allowed Fabio Silva to have that player to lay the ball off to. And then that allowed them to then start that attack down the left, that then, brought Adama Traore into the game, and 1-on-1 against any defender, no one is beating Adama Traore. The guy is just an absolute unit. And they run through. The guy who actually headbutts the ball off the post, off the crossbar for then Neto to then, hit in the rebound, ran straight past Dani Ceballos, straight past him, just wanted to get into the box more than our own guy who didn't seem like he doesn't want to defend because he didn't run back that hard. Dani Ceballos decides at some point to turn his head. It was too late because the guy was already 2 meters in front of him when he should have had his head turning when the guy's actually running past him so he can, speed up and stay with him. So there's the first goal, Domma. And then the second goal, Xhaka gets absolutely turned like cake on halfway by Adama Traore, tries to get tight to him, tries to get tight to a guy inside the guy's own half and get spun, turned around. That opened up the space. And I keep saying it. As long as Granit Xhaka is playing in this team and keeps getting starts, we will continue to lose games. The guy is terrible. I don't care what you say. He is terrible. He's had enough chances at this club. It's time to move on. It's time to find another player. Because he doesn't cut it. He's good for the Europa League. Yeah, keep him there. Play him there. He's good for the cup games. Play him there. But the games that matter, the Premier League, he's not good enough. He gets found out every week. He's no good. I can't stress it enough. I just don't see what I don't understand what Arteta sees in the man. I don't understand, Domma.
To be honest, I know it's a bit
frustrating,
harsh. I know he's a
mate.
professional footballer. We're not, but it's just I'm with you. He looks so vulnerable every week, and they just abuse him. Teams just abuse him.
He's getting turned and spun and run past in midfield the same way he has been for the last 3 seasons. Nothing's changed. He's good at passing the ball and probably better at going forward than he is at actually defending. And that's what he's supposed to do.
I know. It's not good. And you've got a big one this week, so we'll run through these games. If you thought your troubles were bad last week, it's only getting worse. Burnley, Everton, Man City, Fulham. This is a great game here. West Ham versus Man United. Then another great game, Chelsea versus Leeds.
Yep.
Then we got West Brom versus Crystal Palace. Sheffield versus Leicester. Hopefully they can bounce back. Then Spurs versus Arsenal at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
This could be ugly, Domma.
Yeah, it could be very ugly.
Honestly, this could be a la Tottenham when they slapped. Who did they slap earlier in the season?
6-1.
6-1. This could get nasty. Honestly, I fear for us the way that Tottenham's playing, the way they're moving that ball around. They look so good, and I have no confidence that we are going to be able to kick off.
Yeah. And then following that game is another great game, Liverpool versus Wolves. And then to round off the week of gameplay is Brighton versus Southampton at the Amex Stadium.
Some crazy matches.
Just a quick update. Tottenham, Liverpool, first and second on 21. Chelsea, 19 points in third. Leicester, 18 points in fourth. West Ham, Southampton and Wolves all on 17 points in 5th, 6th and 7th. Everton and Man United, 8th and 9th. Aston Villa, 10th. City, 11th. Leeds, 12th. Newcastle, 13th. Arsenal, 14th. Crystal Palace, 15th.
Got to get relegated, Dom.
Brighton, Crystal Palace, 16th. Yeah, Brighton, sorry, I've cocked this up here.
Crystal Palace, 15th, and Brighton, 16th, 17th.
16th.
Fulham and West Brom. Burnley and Sheffield in in the relegation, and Sheffield still have not won a game.
Still not. Yeah, they're struggling. We had some Champions League fixtures this morning. We had Lokomotiv Moskva losing to Salzburg 3-1. Shakhtar Donetsk beating Real Madrid 2-0 in what is setting up a massive final game for Madrid. It's a must-win game for them. They have to win. If they can draw, but Shakhtar has to lose if they draw. So
Shakhtar's beat them twice this season.
Yeah, but the only reason they can get in there is because Shakhtar is somehow -7 in the goal difference.
Oh, because they got slapped one game.
Yeah.
I'll update
Then
that for you.
Atletico drew to Bayern 1-1. Inter beat Mönchengladbach 3-2. Marseille beat Olympiacos 2-1. Man City and Porto shared a 0-0 draw. Liverpool beat Ajax 1-0. Atalanta drew with Midtjylland 1-1. And tomorrow's games are Krasnodar versus Reims, Istanbul, Başakşehir versus Leipzig in a massive game because this is the Man United group. Sevilla versus Chelsea, Dortmund with Haaland against Lazio, Club Brugge against Zenit, Juventus versus Dinamo, Kiev, Ferencváros versus Barca. They always get me every week. And then to finish off the round of games, we have Man United versus Paris Saint-Germain. It's at Old Trafford. So United need to either walk away with a win or a draw in this to secure the spot. If they lose this game to Paris, it all comes down to the last last game in, I think, a couple of weeks' time. But this is what I was saying. All United had to do was beat Istanbul in that game, and they would have been straight through. But they made it hard for themselves.
And then the final game, Sevilla versus Chelsea.
Yeah, Sevilla versus Chelsea. That's
Which, I think both those teams could be playing a second string squad because they have locked up that
they've
top two
locked
spots. Well, you don't know. If Sevilla wins, they'll get that top spot. So maybe both teams do want to play a full strength. So they're both on 10 points, Domma. Both with 3 wins, 1 draw.
Bang. Easy. All right. That's it for the soccer. We'll move on. Coming up next, UFC. All right, we're back. As Saucy said at the top of the show, Hot Balls himself, Derek Big Boy Lewis, unfortunately did not fight this week due to COVID-19 positive test for his opponent. But there was still a card.
There's still a card, and
us a
as
run
I
through.
like to do on this show, I'll go over the main card. So we had out of the featherweight division, you had Jonathan Pearce with the KO over Kai Kamaka, and the women bantamweight division, you have Norma Dumont defeated Ashley Evans Smith on a third round decision. In the featherweight division, you had Billy Aligo versus Spike Clylal. Defeated him with a third round decision. In the heavyweights, you had Parker Porter defeated Josh Parisian in the third round with a decision. Went to the judges. Then you had in the welterweight division, the co-main event, you had Miguel Baeza, who was formerly 9-0, now 10-0, defeated Takashi Santo with a submission in the second round. And then you had which got moved up to the main event, you had Anthony Smith with the submission in the first round over Devin Clark. That is a massive win for Anthony Smith's career. At one point was up near the top, was getting title shots, has fallen away in his last sort of few bouts. And as I mentioned on a pod a while back, did come out questioning his career, where it was at in UFC. But seems as though he's got things back on the right track and secured the win, and convincingly at that, getting the submission in the first round, so making light work of it.
Beautiful.
It was not a bad card. We've got UFC Fight Night, Hermansson versus Vettori coming up this week. The main card, you got the featherweight division, Nate Landau versus Movasa Elevo. That's a very hard name to say. Lightweight division, Roman Dolids versus John Allen. Roman there is 7-0, so watch out for that one. Women flyweight, Montana De La Rosa versus Talia Santos. That will be a mean fight. Both those women, can absolutely throw hammers. In the lightweight division, you had Vince St. Peru versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill undefeated 6-0, so we'll see how that goes. And the main event, middleweight division, Jack Hermansson versus Marvin Vettori. That rounds out the UFC for another week. It's probably next week is what you want to be looking up for. Is that right? Hang on. Yeah, next week. What we got? UFC 256, mate.
Headlining that.
UFC 256, not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday, and you got Davison Figueroa jumping back in the octagon just a short time after he's got the W at UFC 255, and he's jumping back in the ring because he made light work of that one, got the job done in the first round with a submission in the first 3 minutes of the fight, and he's defending his title again. So credit to the man, jumping straight back in the ring, like within the month, just
Very
about.
nice.
Within 4 or 5 weeks, he's back in there.
We didn't bring it up, but we are all just counting down now. Like we counted down to that Gaethje versus Khabib fight. We're just counting down to this McGregor fight in January, aren't we now? So,
Yeah,
really, this is what we're just counting
there's
down to.
another
But
great fight on that 256 card, which is
yeah,
coming up in 2 weeks, which is Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira. That will be a cracking fight, and that's actually firming up to be a nice card, in my
that
opinion.
will be
So it's probably look forward to that one for the UFC fans out there.
perfect. All right, Saucy, very nice. All right, coming up next, a bit of National Football League, NFL. All right, we're back, Saucy. NFL, it's just getting better and better. I'm just
Some
loving it.
absolute crazy results.
I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it, mate.
Absolute crazy results.
Uh, let's just run through some of the games. Lions versus Texans. Texans beat the Lions 41-25. Detroit's lost 4 straight games on Thanksgiving. That's a nice little stat for you. We had the greatest division in football, the Washington football team versus the Dallas Cowboys.
That now that now the New York Giants actually lead the division.
Yeah, but they might not win it because Daniel Jones got injured.
Oh wow.
So Washington could potentially win this friggin' division and play playoff football. This is the stinkiest division going around. They beat the Cowboys 41-16. Gibson most rushed TDs by a rookie on Thanksgiving since 1948. Great work by that young fella. The next game was another walloping. It was the Atlanta Falcons destroying the Las Vegas Raiders 43-6. It is the most points scored since Week 9, 2016 for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Sauce, what the hell is happening?
This was the potential that I seen in him early on, and it was actually putting him in my bets. And I thought, that this was the potential that I seen, and they've lost. They've choked up quite a few games this season, and that 4-7 record could probably be about a 500 team, Domma. So, the Atlanta Falcons, too little, too late. Like you're not going to do anything now. But it just frustrates you, Dom. It frustrates you because I seen that they had that opportunity to be better, and in the last few games they've started to put it together and shown what they can actually do when they decide to play both sides of the ball. Earlier in the season, it was a lot of their defense was average, and the offense just couldn't get it done in the fourth quarter. Now the defense and the offense is all clicking, and they're playing that much better. It's absolutely amazing how the team has turned it around in the last 4 weeks. They've won 3 out of their last 4. 2 wins coming against Panthers and Broncos, a loss against the Saints, but then absolutely convincing win against the Raiders, a Raiders team that has actually troubled some of the better teams in the NFL. I believe they even beat Kansas City. So
unbelievable stuff. So they've turned it around there a bit, which is too little, too late.
Yep.
But next up, we had Chargers versus Bills, where Buffalo beat the Chargers for the first time since Week 7 in 2008, and they forced Justin Herbert, the rookie, to throw the ball 52 times in this game. And he threw it at a pretty good clip. He went 31-52 for the rookie. It's not too bad, but if you're forcing him to throw it that many times, they just struggled. They really struggled to deal with the Bills' defense. Next up, we had that Giants game against the Bengals. They did win it 19-17. Daniel Jones has hurt his hamstring in that game. And the Giants have won 3 straight games for the first time since 2016 in that. Then your boys came up against the Titans. Now, we thought this game was going to be good, but Tennessee's won 3 of the last 4 road games versus Indianapolis. And they made light work of him, really, in the end. Beat him 45-26.
And big boy Derrick Henry had an absolute field day. Absolute field day. 178 yards, 3 TDs, and averaging 6.6 on the carry.
Unbelievable.
What?
He's a
Where
monster.
was our
The run
defense?
defense was
Where was
terrible.
our rushing defense, Domma?
You struggled in that one. Then we had Browns versus Jags. I know it was only 27-25. Don't look into that. Jags are tanking. They're trying to get a better quarterback, it looks like. Then we had Panthers versus Vikings. Now, I thought our boy, Kirky, was going to screw this up for 2 weeks in a row. We had golden opportunities. He squandered one last week when the Packers lost to make up a game on him. And I thought, no, surely he's not going to drop another game in this division to the Panthers. They got the late win, beat them 28-27. Well done, Kirk. Good on you, mate. He's not going to get the Le Mans this week. It's a miracle for once. You like that?
He's
Getting
getting
this up for 2 weeks in a row.
like that?
You like that?
He's back. He squandered one last week when the Packers lost. Next to make up a game on him, and I thought heartbreak for Kyler Murray. 2 weeks in a row now. He lost to Russell Wilson in the Seahawks last week, and this week got done by the Patriots. Cam Newton absolutely struggled in this, mind you. He went 9 of 18 for 84 yards and threw 2 interceptions. He was dreadful. Kyler Murray threw 1 interception, no TDs. He struggled. Cam Newton had a nice QBR, a lazy 6.6 in this game, so it was great. But the Patriots beat the Cardinals 20-17. And New England game-winning 50-yard field goal as the time expired to break Kyler Murray's heart. Dolphins backed up the loss last week with a 20-3 win over the Jets. This is a no-given. The Jets are literally trying to get another quarterback. It looks like they're going to just definitely move off of Darnold and probably Gase, their head coach, as well. Then we had the Saints versus the Broncos, who had no QB because all their QBs were either injured or sick or coronavirus, so they had some random come in. 91 gross pass yards combined in this game. So that is a disgrace. Taysom Hill's won two in a row. They've made light work of the Broncos, beat them 31-3. They're my boys, my Super Bowl favorites. My pick, the 49ers. I don't know how they did it to us. They beat the Rams 23-20. I was blown away by this. I was actually quite happy because I'm like, there's still some light at the end of the tunnel for these boys. When you got Nick Mullins putting on a clinic, no TDs, 1 interception. It's literally they're running the ball and not leaving it to the QB. Then Bears got dismantled by the Packers. Sauceys' best mate, Mitchell Trubisky, came back and started, and what do you know? They ended up losing. So it does not surprise us there. Then we had Seahawks versus Eagles.
He threw 2 picks.
Metcalf, career high, 177 receiving yards. If you did not watch him, he put on an absolute exhibition, mate. He dominated the Eagles. Wentz has absolutely struggled. I watched it. They're not good at all. So I can't see them winning that division. I'm shattered because we picked them, but no good. And the last game there was the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers. Brady's lost again. Mahomes gets the victory. And actually, the last game was the Ravens-Steelers, but that's been postponed to tomorrow. So
Correct.
That'll be on tomorrow. Next week's games, where are we here? Sorry, week 13. Let me just bring that up, ladies and gents.
Bang. So we start off, we got Saints and Falcons, Lions versus the Bears, Browns and Titans, Bengals and Dolphins, Jaguars versus Vikings, Raiders, Jets, that's a shoe-in that one, Colts, Texans, big game for the Colts, Rams versus Cardinals, that should be a cracker, Giants versus Seahawks, expect Seahawks to get that done quite easily, Eagles, Packers should get that, Patriots versus Chargers, that will be a good game, Broncos, Chiefs, Washington, and then what do we got on Monday Night Football? Looks like a double header, isn't it? Washington Steelers and Bills and 49ers, and then we got the Wednesday, another Tuesday Night Football, which is Cowboys and Ravens.
Oh, ripper. Can't wait for that one. Ring-a-ding-ding.
Perfect. Ravens not doing the best this season.
No, they're struggling.
Underperforming.
Between COVID and their struggles, they have not been good. Anyway, coming up next, we've got some hobby talk. Bit to get through, some great stuff happening in the hobby. And like we said, it was one of the biggest weeks. All right, we're back. Some hobby talk. It's been a massive week. We started the show off with the acquisition of Collectors Universe. So if you want to watch that, just scroll back. We had a good discussion on that. But a lot of other stuff's happened in the last week and a half period. We had AFL Brilliance release here in Australia, and that sold out in how quickly, Sauce? Bloody AFL Brilliance. It flew off the shelves.
Oh, sold out in 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, it
Ridiculous.
was ridiculous. The cards in there,
they look
all
elite.
numbered. They're all numbered. Base cards are numbered to 50. I'm pretty sure there's some 1-of-1s in there. There's numbered to 5. The base cards, I saw, just to give you an example, I saw John Coleman base card, numbered to 50. I think it was like 10 of 50. Person was asking for $2,000 for the card.
Oh, they look good. Domma, I'm not going to deny that. The cards look really good.
As we said, Select's always had the designs, mate. They've been ahead of the game with their cards. It's just getting their tier system sorted for their products. That's all they had to do. And now they're nailing it, honestly. If you could go out there and buy that product, it's $200. I'm pretty sure it was $200. Yeah, for one card, $199. All you get is one card, but I'm telling you, based on the cards that are in there, it looks like the resale, even if you don't get a guy that you want, it looks like you'll be able to flip and at least break even and get your money back to invest in another box. So that's a positive there. Well, we also have our mates down at Panini, at Cherry, opening Panini 1-and-1, which is faring out to be a very, very nice product.
Yeah, it's really nice. Anyone out there who hasn't seen the product 1-and-1, probably for me, up there with one of the best products, or up in the higher end range. Really nice. I love the designs. There's some really cool stuff coming out of it. Nice.
Downtown cards are so nice.
The downtown cards look really good. One thing I don't really understand is why they've now added another downtown variant, because they already had downtown in another set.
This one's different, Saucy. Now it says 1-and-1 in the top left hand corner. But it doesn't matter. They look there.
They look good. They look good.
They're pulling out some. Cherry pulled out a patch order of Zion. Pretty sure numbered to 10. Which was jersey numbered. I think it was 1-of-10. So there's been some great cards. I pulled a Cam Reddish today, rookie RPA.
Yeah, nice. I've seen a base, the 1-and-1 base card. It's numbered to 99, LeBron James. Someone was asking for something like $2,000 for it. There was actually a confirmed sale on eBay at $1,200, so $1,200 USD. So amazing stuff that like a 99 to 99 1-and-1 base card, because even the base cards in that set are numbered, so there's only 99 of the base variant.
It's great. Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's going for that much.
The AI card that they got signed. An auto. They got the Drexler.
There's a Vince Carter. Vince Carter. One of him doing a dunk. It's like in his Raptors jersey, and it's on card auto. It looks amazing. I think it's got a silver auto on it. Silver pen used.
Yeah, and they pulled they pulled a Drexler like that as well. I think that was a one.
They look really good.
Not 1-and-1. The product is 1-and-1, but they pulled a 1-of-1 of that card, and it's just like a highlight image on the card, and it's signed by Drexler. I'm pretty sure he's going up for a dunk. Very nice cards. Very, very nice. One of the best products, as Saul said, on the higher end. But it could be product of the year, potentially. Even that, we both love Select basketball. We think that their cards look the best. It's just we gave Prism the credit over Select, I think, a bit too early. In my opinion, I think Select's a very, very nice product. Red Waves and very, very nice cards. But our friends, we had a special pod with Moneyball Sports Cards last Monday, which we explained and told everyone about on Wednesday, but they released on Sunday, so their product launched.
Yep.
And we just want to really send out a congratulations to the team down there. They sold out I think it's 149 repacks. They sold out all 149 repacks in 45 minutes.
That is amazing.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations to them. That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, stoked for him. It was a good interview that you had with him with Neb last week. And I've been all for the repacks, Domma. You know what I've been saying. Would you rather go buy a box for $350 and potentially get jack shit, or would you rather go buy into a decent repack, because you got to do your research as well, yeah. The lads down there at Moneyball Sports Cards, they've got a good reputation with their first repack, Moneyball 1.0, and now 2.0 sold out in 45 minutes. There's some big hits in there, Kobe Auto, freaking Doncic, graded Doncic rookie cards. So when there's potential that you're investing that amount of money in, and you could potentially get a Kobe Auto that's worth a few thousand. And then you've got some of the other lowly hits, but then maybe the lowest hit you get back in there, alright, you get back $100 card or $125 card. That's probably more than you would get back than if you're just busting a box of, say, whatever product at $350, which at this point in time is most likely only going to be hoops. Yeah, you're not going to get anything for $350. So all the inflated prices that you're going to get, going to be, you're not going to get nothing. With that, if you're buying the box, if you're buying the box honestly, for $750, $800, your risk is enhanced.
Yeah, you buy a hoops box for $350 and potentially get no card in there that's worth anywhere near $100. You know what I mean? Or you spend $350 on a Moneyball sports card repack, and the cards are all graded, PSA or BGS graded, and if you're going to turn around and say, oh well, I didn't get a $350 card, but it's the same thing in buying a box of hoops. You might get jack shit, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But at least you can trust the boys down there. They get players that have actually are popular and worth something in the hobby, if you're keen in that, and there's a chance to get some fantastic
That's what
cards.
the good part about it is. There's a plan behind what they do. They don't just put they're not bloody putting freaking Markov Fultz rookies in there and the guys that you don't want. They're trying to put the guys that you do want. The Tatums, the Bam Adebayos, Hero, Kobe,
Doncic,
Doncic, and
guys like that,
and relevant guys that are now they do put some older vintage stuff in there that of great players as well. So I think it's a win, and people need to start really the way that the trajectory of the box prices at the moment. Some of that, the more value is found in the repack, in my opinion. So if you still want to be taking that chance, that gamble, well, why wouldn't you buy into some of these repacks? And it's always good to buy into someone who's been around and has been reputable for a while, and Moneyball has done that. So
and
happy
well
for them. Happy for
very,
them.
very happy for him, which is awesome. Next up was massive. You brought this to my attention as it actually happened live. I just got home from work and I had to quickly just fumble my phone to try and get on to the live stream on Instagram. But we love pool wax. We absolutely love pool wax on this pod. And one of their used to be one of their main rippers, Lil P, Chase, has left pool wax and he started his own breaking company. And Lil P had pulled one of the biggest cards I've ever seen last Thursday, I think it was, because it was after our pod, or else we would have spoke about it. So what did he pull, Saucy? Because I don't want to cock this up.
So he's pulled a Luka Doncic.
Luka the Don.
Luka the Don.
This card is the Don of Lukas as well.
Optic Dragon
Rookie.
And I believe it's numbered to 8.
It is numbered today. I think it was 2 of 8.
2 of 8. Domma, that card raw is worth 50k.
Little P's goaded.
That card's worth 50k raw. You get that graded, and I mean the one that he had there looked pretty good. That's graded at 10. That's well up over $100,000 card.
I think a couple people in the stream were like it was a bit off center on the back, but really, who gives a shit? Like the card.
Yeah, well, PSA's got 80-20 on the back, or 90-10, or whatever they prefer. Whatever they prefer on the day. They'll see that card. They'll be like, Luka Doncic, numbered to 8. Oh my god, yeah, we're slapping a 10 on that. Look.
Yeah, it was a lovely card. It was so nice. It was a ripper. If you haven't seen it, go back.
The Dragon variant is really nice. I mean, if you got the lazy 50k, go buy that. Go buy that off the gun. I think the guy was.
I think so.
But sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. I think it was like $1,000 or something to enter into that break.
It was.
Or was just over $1,000 per spot.
Yeah.
And it was a random spot. It was a 4-person break, so it was 4 people who were in it. Or 6 people, because you only get 6 cards pulled out of that box. And it was like, then he had, so I think it was like $1,000 a spot or something, and it was like they randomized the spots. So obviously, first spot would get to choose what card they wanted, and obviously the first person is definitely going to choose that card.
It's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
I don't want Luka the Don number to 8. Dragon.
You don't say
you got to be an absolute clown.
Congratulations to that bloke.
Well done. If you haven't seen him pull that card, just go on his page. He loses his marbles. It's not a Sniper Manus.
Not Sniper Manus. That is still the best pull I have seen celebration to this day, by far.
Which is awesome for Lil P. He's got some major clout by pulling that as well. People just going ham in other streams. Like I was jumping in between lives, and people were like, "Did you see Lil P? What he just pulled?" It was incredible and fantastic for him, and well done. Last but not least, we launched it yesterday. We released it, but we did catch up with Chris Hoge. So Chris from
Hobby
House
Goat. Hobby Goat.
Was awesome. If you haven't listened to it, he's just so great to interview. He's so knowledgeable about the hobby. He knows his stuff. It's absolutely incredible.
The data father, I labelled him.
Yeah, the data father. He is literally like, man, he's like an encyclopedia dude when it comes to like just data and just knowing cards and giving hints and tips, and it was just amazing. It was great to get his opinion on a few things that were happening in the hobby.
Yep.
We also brainstormed a few ideas on what could be done to kind of improve it, to make it better. Some suggestions for people out there that are collecting, and that leads us to there's going to be no Sauceys Smokey this week, because just go back and listen to that. Saucy, myself, and Chris gave tips for guys in there. There's probably about 15 Smokies in there waiting to be jumped upon. Not just cards, but there's also products as well that Chris was saying these are products that you should buy. Like he bought a couple products. I'm not going to tell you. Go listen to the pod. This is called plugging. Go listen there. He was saying 9 or 10 cards out of that box that he actually sent for grading, and he said the hit rate was unbelievable. And it was a suggestion from someone at Panini when he got invited to their offices, and the Panini exec there was like, "Oh, this is the product. This is what."
Christina, his fiance, interviewed someone at Panini, and they said that product, and well, if you can still find some around for a reasonable price, it'd be worth it. But if not, you can buy some singles.
I looked up some of the hangers and stuff and blasters. They're going for $240, so it's actually not that bad if you're going to get major hits.
Oh, I mean, you can buy an optic blaster from this season, and they're going for about $300.
You get jack shit. So
And,
there you go.
You know, maybe the hit rate in that product, because it's not as popular, wasn't back then. They might have, you know, just like Chronicles. You open Chronicles this season, you just get every rookie under the sun. It's just rookie stacked. Who knows? Maybe that product is like that.
Yeah, definitely. But so check that out. Please do subscribe to the pod and leave a nice rating. Put some nice words there. It'll be great. But that's pretty much it for the show. Thanks for tuning in to our watchers, and till next week, keep living, loving, and breathing sport. It's been Dom and Saucy, double coverage. Peace out.
Peace out, ladies and gents. Till next week. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcasting app. Also, if you could please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be awesome. Don't forget to follow us on socials at DBL_coverage_ on both Instagram and Twitter to join in with your opinions.